For those of you who are bird lovers and bird watchers, I may have a disappointing news. It is not going to be about ornithology. It is going to be about philosophy and about what factors separate us from happiness and what should we do to be happy. And the sparrow in the title of the presentation comes from the famous Stoic philosopher and also emperor, a Roman emperor, but it's not that important, Marcus Aurelius. So I would like you to show you the source of the quote so we can discuss it more. Okay, so Marcus Aurelius, in these words that you can see and read right now, what he says us is that basically everything around us, the nature, our experience, whatever there is there, is changing all the time. It's changing all the time, and it is a conceptual mistake to believe that there are any stable, frozen object in the world around. And the main source of unhappiness in our life is believing that we can catch something, that we can identify with something, and this something will be eternal and will give us happiness in one or another way. So what Marcus Aurelius says is putting a high price, as he expresses, on anything, and just basically anything which is unchangeable, leads us to suffering. It is as if a man should fall in love with one of the sparrows which fly by, but it has already passed out of sight. And of course, this is not an ornithology statement. It's a very deep existential statement about the fact that we tend to get attached to things which are changing all the time. When I was preparing this presentation, I asked my wife and the photographer to if she had any picture of a sparrow flying in the air, a flying sparrow, and she looked at me as if I was an idiot. She offered me the same kind of look she gives me when I try to cook something, and she said, do you know how fast flying sparrows are? And this is exactly the point. Not just sparrows. Basically every part of our experience is very fast, and we should acknowledge it in order to be happy. Imagine yourself watching a beautiful sunset. As it sometimes happens, this is one of the most beautiful possible sights we human can experience. And sometimes when we watch it, we want it to stop, we want it to freeze. We take picture of it. The pictures are never as good as reality, but this is a tendency of our mind to keep a moment, and this is impossible. If you think it's possible, please try to persuade the sun next time you see it setting to stop for a while. My prediction is it will not work, the sun will go down, and the sight will disappear. My wife didn't have a picture of sparrow, but she offered me as a consolation prize another picture, which I love, and I would like you to have a look at it. If I manage, okay. That's the outside of our windows in the apartment we used to rent in Warsaw. Of course, this is supposed to be a squirrel. The point is that we cannot say that this is a squirrel because it's not full. The head is somewhere else. It's not in the frame. The rest of the animal is in the frame. So in our ordered world, we would love everything to be in frames. We would love everything to be stable so we could enjoy it. But I love this picture so much, and people on Facebook love it too, because this is a truth. This picture tells us a truth about reality. Everything is changing. It is a squirrel? It's not. It's not as we would love it to be. It is a little bit different. And we talk about birds and other animals, but this refers to basically everything. We have a concept of our body. We have concept of a body of the people we love, of the body of our partners. We have a concept of of the things that belong to us. We have a concept of happiness, but they are all just concepts. In reality, everything is changing all the time, and Marcus Aurelius and other Stoics say, if you man would like to be happy, really, consider this very subject, please, and see that everything is changing, and attune to the process of change, because otherwise you will be unhappy, because the thing you would identify with will soon not be there. So this is the basic premise of Stoic philosophy, and that gave me an impulse to try to find out if the same philosophy is present in other traditions. And of course it is. When you look, as much as I would love it to be my discovery, it unfortunately isn't. It is very, very common knowledge that change is the key to happiness, that attuning to the process of life, which is constant flux, which is constant change, is the key to happiness. If you look at philosophical traditions from different cultures, you will see that they are obsessed with change. Look at Buddhism. One of the major concepts of Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist meditation is the concept which is expressed in Pali language as anicca, and this is change. Look at Taoists. These guys don't even talk that much about change. They just worship the change by moving. Now, all these kung fu movements, they all originate from Taoism. So in order to be a philosopher for a Taoist is to kind of move, to kind of be a part of the process of moving of the whole universe. There are many other philosophical schools that say basically the same. Change is the key to your happiness. And now, I tried many of the methods of at least of the three schools I mentioned, Buddhist, Taoist, and Stoic. I meditated for almost 2 years in various monasteries and meditation centers, mostly in Asia. I spent some time in China trying to learn a meditative movement called Qigong. I also studied Stoic philosophers as deeply as I could in order to retrieve from their philosophy the practical means to attune to the process of life, to talk to the nature by the language of change and to be happy. And when I studied all these traditions, the three traditions at least, I kind of identify two categories of practices that help us to attune to the process of life, to accept change and to live, to befriend change, to live as if the change was a part of the life. The first one is attending to the process of thinking, and the other one is attending to the senses. And let me please shortly introduce you to the two categories of the philosophical techniques and philosophical teachings. You can look at the quotation. This is by Epictetus, who was also a Stoic philosopher and thinker, and you see a very nice Stoic trick, a mental trick that Stoics offer for you to be more happy or to suffer less. So Stoics says that in most of the situations you have only two choices, you have only two possibilities, a good one and a good one, a good one and another good one. And this mental technique of attending to the process of thinking shows how it works. Imagine yourself in a traffic jam. You are going to go to your work, you are late, you are stopped in a traffic jam, you get angry, you would like to be at your office, and all these stories start in your head about what will happen when you will be late, that you will lose the job and whatever scenario you produce in your head. This is what our mind does. And you can look at the situation in two ways, and both of them are good. You can say that you are alone in the traffic jam. And if you are alone, because you are alone in your car, if you are alone in the traffic jam, that's a fantastic situation, because you are alone at last. You have some time to you. You can relax. You can listen to music. You can listen to book from a CD. You can plan something, you can have fantasies. How much do we all need free time? And now the traffic jam, when we are alone in it, offers us this free, wonderful time. But you can also look from the other angle, and you can say that you are with other people, that you are in a crowd, because there are cars around you. And again, what a fantastic situation it is. Because if you redefine the situation in your head, you can tell yourself that this is not a traffic jam. This is not an obstacle that separates you from your wonderful career, but this is, let's say, a lesson in psychology. So for the 20 minutes in a traffic jam, you can observe human behavior, and you can learn a lot. So some of the people will be relaxed, some of the people will be tense, some of the people will communicate with each other between the cars, showing each other the universal sign of love, popularized by Hollywood movies. All this may happen, and I promise you, as much as I love the science of psychology, you can learn as much in 20 minutes in a traffic jam as in 1 year of studying philosophy, psychology at the university. Okay, look at the trick. There is no third situation. There are only two situations, good one and good one. Let's look at the other quote. This one is by Epicurus. Epicurus wasn't a Stoic. He set up his own philosophical school, but he was very close to Stoicism, we can say. And he says something like this: in a joint philosophical investigation, he who is defeated comes out ahead insofar as he has learned something new. Picture a situation. You are in a circle of your friends in a pub, and you get involved in arguing about something with one of the friends. And as sad as this picture is, you lose the argument. So everybody at the table says that the other guy outsmarted you. The other guy used better arguments. He's wiser than you. So you could think that he is the winner and you are the loser. But if you look at it from a Stoic position, you can see that this is the other way around, actually. You are the winner because you've learned something. He's the loser because he hasn't learned anything. In order to show you how this kind of quote works in our head, I thought about a thought experiment. A thought experiment is a philosophical technique that we use to examine some ideas. So in this particular thought experiment, I am flying in a jet over the Pacific Ocean, and the jet crashes onto the surface of the water. And there are only two people that are saved from the plane, and the two people are me and the famous tennis player Anna Ivanovic. Why her, you will see on the next slide. If I manage. Okay. So, me and Anna Ivanovic on a deserted island. Okay. And now, as the thought, I can do anything with the thought experiment. So my thought experiment tells me that there is only one thing on the deserted island. And the thing is a tennis court. A full professional tennis court, for some reason, I don't know why. Tennis court with lines, with net, with balls, with rockets, and even with this funny, tiny, bluish energy drink that you can use anytime that you feel tired. So Anna and me, we spent 3 years on the deserted island before a ship which is passing by rescues us. And what can we do? Tell me, what can we do? We can either talk about philosophy or play tennis. And you might have seen Anna playing tennis in television. I assume you've never seen me playing tennis, but I can assure you that during these 3 years, if we play 10,000 games, Anna will win all 10,000 games. So when we are rescued by the ship, who is the winner and who is the loser? She won 10,000 games, but you can also be sure that after playing 3 years of tennis with me, she will never, ever return to playing tennis professionally. Her tennis will be spoiled. Whereas I am the winner. I may easily become a world champion of philosophers in tennis. Okay, so you see how it works. I return to the former slide. That you use some kind of way of thinking, and then you can work with the process of thinking, and you can be happy. When you use it and when you do it for some time, you kind of come to conclusion, or the conclusion comes to you, that winner, loser, all this stuff is just a concept. That the truth is that everything changes, and concepts are not quick enough to follow the changes. Another technique is the technique to come to the senses, to attend to your senses. And this is a meditative technique. You can read about it a lot in all these books about Buddhist meditation, for example, but you can try it easily at home. It's enough that you have a sense, that you feel a sensations of touch, that your awareness registers the sensation of the sounds around you, that your awareness registers the sights that come to your eyes, and that you feel, for example, the power of gravitation. Try it at home, and if you try it really, without concentrating, without focusing, just allowing your awareness to register various sensations, you will see that you cannot be unhappy and attuned to the senses at the same time. These two states of brain never come along, never come together. If you are with the senses, you cannot be unhappy. So there are these two philosophical techniques that I kind of wanted to present to you. And when we talk of the philosophy of attuning to the process of life, this is one of the statements that I would like to put as a foundation of such a philosophical system. The less a system, whatever it is, any system, by system I mean any entity that seems to be separated from the rest of nature, the less it is in touch with the process of life, the more it defends its personal identity, the more anxiety it contains, the more obsessive with itself it becomes. So in order to be happy, we need to be open. We need to really allow ourselves to attune to the process of life, to the process of change. We need to fall in love, not with the sparrow flying by, but with the change itself. Thank you very much.